Ashley, what's our first official topic today?
THR is reporting that months ahead of the opening of Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers is teaming up with Margot Robbie to produce and star in an untitled spin-off movie with Harley Quinn and a number of DC's female heroes and villains. Though details are under wraps, THR mentions names such as Batgirl and Birds of Prey as possible additions to the movie. THR's sources also report that Robbie brought the project to WB, adding that in research for her Harley Quinn part, she dove deep into the comics to learn as much as possible and in the process fell for DC's female characters. She brought on the writer to help develop the project, with Warner's snapping up the package. Mark, thoughts on a Harley Quinn movie at DC?
I'm excited about this, man. I saw this news and I'm like, oh, good. This means that they're very confident in Suicide Squad, or at least in her character's role in Suicide Squad. Because a lot like Batman v Superman, where whatever you think about that movie, a lot of people loved Wonder Woman in it and they loved Batman in it. Guess who's getting their own movies? Wonder Woman and Batman. And we're over the moon about those possibilities. Same thing with Harley Quinn. Now, I don't know as much about her or Margot Robbie's portrayal, obviously, because we've seen a couple trailers and that's pretty much it until August. Once August hits, though, it appears she's going to be the one that steals the show, because we already have all this other material that they're going to be doing with Warner Brothers. I think it's a cool idea. It shows confidence in their movie, which is something that DC, I think it's good for them to show that, right, Kristian?
No. I'm mixed on it. I'm mixed on it because I would like to. Margot Robbie, huge fan of. Like what I've seen so far in the trailers for Suicide Squad, and I have high hopes for Suicide Squad, but the movie isn't out yet. Let's get the movie out. It comes out in August. Hold off. Even if you're working on this thing, even if Margot Robbie did bring in the script and develop it, let's see how everyone responds to it. Let's hope that everyone's over the moon, like, yes, I want this movie. Then you go, well, guess what? We're giving you a standalone Harley Quinn movie. And then everyone goes, yeah, after the success of Suicide Squad, all right. Because let's put a what if. Because like I said, I want this movie, I want Suicide Squad to be amazing. What if it doesn't deliver? And what if people are disappointed with it? And then they announce it again, too. And what if she's not the standalone? What if she's not great in it? She's okay. Then they shot themselves in the foot, because now they have to kind of make this movie and then they have to pull back. It's a risky move. Now, even if they have the confidence in it, I think they should wait until this movie comes out. This movie's going to kick so much ass that the time. Look at the strategic move we're going to make here. So we're going to kick ass in August. We're going to open up August big. We're going to push forward. It's going to be the best movie of the DC cinematic universe, and then give them that. That's going to get excitement. I think this is jumping the gun.
I understand that logic from a studio head chief perspective, where it's like, oh, guys, let's not do this yet. But as a fan, doesn't this give you a little bit more confidence in Suicide Squad?
Not necessarily, because the thing is, if you look at it, they started announcing Batman v Superman right away after Man of Steel, and Man of Steel had like kind of mixed reviews. I really enjoyed Man of Steel, but there were certain people who didn't love Man of Steel, and they said, well, don't worry, Batman and Superman now are going to be in the movie, and it didn't work out as they planned it to. There are, again, people who love that movie, and there are people that certainly don't love that movie, but it wasn't that universal kind of thing that they're pushing for yet. So I think had they waited, I think they still should have done the standalone Batman movie first, built that up, and then gone back in, because I've changed my kind of tune on that. I think that after all this, set up that Batman, then get Batman v Superman, and then move into Suicide Squad, and then move into a Harley Quinn movie.
Well, she's going to be going against Batman, maybe potentially down the road, or somebody else, but we know that Harley is not as well known of a character as Wonder Woman or Batman or Superman. Does it make sense to you, Rocha, to greenlight this movie before we've even seen Suicide Squad?
Well, no, I think it's a dangerous move. I agree with a lot of what Kristian was saying as well. It seems like DC, and this is like, the fanboys can go after me if they want, but like, it seems to me they're being reactionary about everything since Man of Steel. The reason they went to Batman vs Superman, because they saw that people weren't 100% fan of Man of Steel. There was a lot of backlash to Man of Steel. So they, you know what, we're going to double down. We're going to even go further. We're going to bring Batman in and try to save it. Now, if they're jumping the gun a little bit here, because if Suicide Squad is bad, and there are some rumors that it's a mess, then it'll taint the brand going forward with Harley Quinn, and they won't have that option of being like, look, we've learned our lessons. We'll go with Harley Quinn. We're going to make this a different kind of movie. But DC is doing a really smart thing here in the PR wars, in that they've already got a standalone female superhero movie coming out. Marvel doesn't. They have a second. Now they're leaning into doing a Harley Quinn movie. Marvel doesn't have a second one. Now there's even talk about a rumor about Birds of Prey, so it could be an all-female action hero movie, a superhero action movie. This is very smart by them as a brand, but I think this jumping the gun makes me real uneasy about Suicide Squad because they might be doing this to kind of like, don't look at this over here, look at this over here, and it's kind of a dangerous move, I think.
Well, I mean,
them.
they already know what they have. I mean, this movie's pretty much finished. It's just we haven't seen it yet because it's not August. So we know they know what the quantity is with Suicide Squad, and they can probably guess based on Batman v Superman what the fan reaction is going to be. Yeah. So even if that movie comes out and it isn't good, wouldn't you still think they would want to go forward with the characters that do respond well with fans?
Yeah.
And that DC is assuming that Harley Quinn is going to be one of those characters.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that I think you stay with the timeline. Even if they're going to say they're going to release this, we're going to shoot this movie next month and then release it in a year from now. Fine, stick with that plan, but do it after you see how the response is first.
What's the rush?
That's what it is. And the thing that does get me nervous about it a little bit, as I think about it, is that what I want to see in Suicide Squad, I want to see the true character of Harley Quinn in this character. She's not a good person.
Right.
She's not at all.
She's got a couple screws loose, perhaps.
So it's also interesting how they're going to do a full movie. What's the full movie going to be? Is it going to be more of I would like to see. I don't want to see the anti-hero. I want to see a full crazy person in the lead. That's the movie I want to see. I think that would be great, especially and it does. You do give the applause that all these female-led movies are coming out, and this is certainly one that it is a beloved character. It is a character that can work as a standalone movie. My thing is just wait. You only have till August. Wait till August. See how you do in the first 2 weeks. See how they respond to her. Because even if the movie isn't good and it doesn't do well, but people are doing exactly what you said. Harley Quinn, it was a standout. She needs to have her own movie. Let them say that first. Yeah. Let them say it first, and then then announce the movie.
It feels like they're playing Marvel and Tecmo Bowl, and they're down by like 40 points, and they're throwing fourth down and 56-yard passes, trying to catch up to Marvel instead of trusting themselves, taking it slow, building their own brand, being like, "You guys go ahead." It could be a tortoise in the hare situation where they could eventually win this thing, and so I don't understand what the rush is. Like, we love the characters already. You've got a already built-in number of series that have worked in the past. So what's the rush?
It was already a good conversation. Then he dropped the Tecmo Bowl reference, and now it was a great talk. I can't wait to check in with the chat room. We're going to go to one more story, then I'm going to hit up Wendy and see what everybody's saying about this tale because you guys clearly have a lot to say. Ashley, what's our next main topic?
Deadline is reporting that Martin Scorsese's mob picture, The Irishman, has landed at STX Entertainment in a huge deal for international rights that represents a record for the Cannes Film Festival. Paramount will retain domestic rights on the movie, which reunites Scorsese with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Harvey Keitel, as well as adding Al Pacino with Scorsese for the first time in their storied careers. Based on Charles Brandt's true crime book, I Heard You Paint Houses, The Irishman will also employ de-aging technology for the stars, similar to that seen in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and the recent Captain America Civil War. Based on the unsolved disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa and the mob's part in it, The Irishman has yet to secure a release date. Kristian, your thoughts on the Dream Team matchup for The Irishman?
Gimme. You had me at Scorsese, Keitel, De Niro, and Pesci. You had me at all. I don't care what the movie's about. That's it. Mob movie with all of them? Sure. I'm in the theater. I cannot wait. Are you kidding me? Finally, they're reteaming. The Irishman, you know that this is going to be Scorsese doing what Scorsese does. Give me, I don't know, break some skulls. Who's yours? Why not? We're back. I can't wait for them all to be back. Yes.
Does the Benjamin Button technology ensure that the stars are not going to mail in their performances? Because, like, look, recently, sometimes you don't know what you're getting when you see your boy De Niro, you see Pacino on camera. It's like, oh, boy, they really did not care about this one. But I have a feeling everybody is committing hard to The Irishman. You know what they had me at? Scorsese, Mob. That's it,
right off the top. And then you hear who's back.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I hear you paint houses, the story of Jimmy Hoffa, that disappearance. It seems like something that is so ripe. I can't believe this movie wasn't already made in the early 90s with this same cast, and they wouldn't have to worry about the technology. Whatever year they're going to make the movie, and now I'm thrilled to death to hear something like this.
I just saw someone say, you can tell Dennis is off screen drooling over this movie. You know he is. And the Benjamin Button technology, that technology to see, because they've been doing a lot of that even with Michael Douglas and Ant-Man, and then Downey in Civil War.
And they did a bit of it on Tron too, with Jeff Bridges.
That's where it started. And that looked really, that was where it was the beginning of it. It was a guinea pig. But now it started,
a little rubbery
it's
face.
starting to come together. And I'm into it. I want to see what happens with them going back. Not the whole movie, obviously, but a lot of it. So yeah,
I want to see these guys get together and actually kill Benjamin Button. How about you, Rocha?
I couldn't be more excited. Just like Kristian, I was like, oh, because Righteous Kill was an abomination, and Heat is something that you can get behind, even if it's a bit uneven as a film. You still love their interactions.
Dare you?
Their chemistry is so potent when you see them on screen. Just that diner scene is a lesson for actors all over the world. So to see them coming in with a director who understands how to use their talent, and you get a little hoo-ah action from Pacino with De Niro's undercutting, it's going to be brilliant. And they understand. If there's one guy that knows exactly how to use both of them, it's Scorsese. You put him in a mob movie, and all dudes of a certain age who remember watching all those mob movies growing up are super excited.
And
Rocha taking shots at Heat.
No, not
Festival.
shots.
This is a place where a lot of deals go down. It's awesome. This is a record-breaking deal as far as the international distribution. But Kristian and Rocha, I know that you guys are fans of Heat, one much more so than the other apparently. But Michael Mann, in a story that we reported a couple of weeks ago on Collider Movie Talk, is that Michael Mann wanted to work on some more material regarding Heat, and then he was talking about writing a novel that would be kind of a prequel to Heat. If we get this movie pulled off in the right way, and The Irishman has that Benjamin Button technology, and it looks awesome, could you go back and could you do something like another movie in the Heat universe where you'd have to shrink down Val Kilmer a little bit, but you could do all these things and tell another story?
I don't know, because I think the difference is with this movie, with Irishman, they don't have to do much running around. They don't have to do much actually. Like Heat, there's a lot of running and shooting and doing, and this was when the guys were in there.
Stuntman.
I'm not running. There's more to Heat as far as action goes. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe. I'm not gonna. If I heard that it was gonna happen, I wouldn't be against it.
I'd be a little weirded out by it. Yeah. As long if you could fix that Amy Brenneman storyline, that'd be great. That was my only issue with Heat. Come on, we can debate all you want. I'm just saying it was a little bit off. I had a problem with that.
It's really creepy how you guys actually turn into De Niro and Pacino from Heat when you were arguing about the movie Heat. You know what? Let's check in with Wendy Lee right now because she's over at the news desk. And Wendy, obviously, The Irishman is exciting news, but I'm sure everybody's still chirping about the Margot Robbie being in a new Harley Quinn film. What are the fans saying about that?
Sure, let's start off with Harley Quinn. The chat actually was pretty divided on the spinoff. A lot of the chat is agreeing with Kristian, saying that it's way too early to announce this and they want to see how Suicide Squad does first. YGT Entertainment says, this is odd because if Joker's in this movie, he should be the one stealing the show and not Harley. And Chris says, I agree with the red shirt guy.
The red shirt guy. Nice.
Hey, it's better than not being known at all.
Sooner or later, they'll know who you are, Bespin.
I really like John Rocha. Before we go to buy or sell, we have another little tidbit of breaking news here. If you're a fan of Transformers 5, well, don't worry, we have some more stuff for you. But apparently, Josh Duhamel?
No, that's definitely not
Josh
it.
Duhamel has been confirmed to be in Transformers 5. How exciting is this?
Oh, there is no Duhamel. No Duhamel. Duhamel. Josh Duhamel is coming back. I actually like Josh Duhamel. I'll tell you what he was good in. Was 11/22/63. He was just in that. He crushed it in that show. I think he's a pretty good actor. I don't think he gets. I'm telling you, he's not that bad. You judge him off of Transformers, and you could put Daniel Day-Lewis in that movie, and he looked like horrible.
I've heard great things about 11/20, so I was excited.
He's really good in
that,
but I don't necessarily know. Again, it's Bay coming back, so we're going to get the best performance out of him. I think it still ties in the franchise from before. Him coming back, it doesn't make me, now I definitely want to see it. No, because Michael Bay's still doing it.
Well, don't worry. I have another piece of Transformers news we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. Maybe that will get you on board with Transformers 5. Tad Hamilton is going to be in Transformers 5. Are you excited, Rocha?
Do I get to win a date with him?
Let's not get crazy.
Boom. Nailed it. What do you want me to say? It's great. I like that he's coming back. Does this mean Tyrese is not coming back, or is he coming back?
No confirmation on Tyrese yet, but thank you, red shirt guy.
We'll talk about that on Minority Movie Talk. I think it's great Duhamel's coming back. He's perfect for those kinds of films. He has the right approach. He has the right acting for those kinds of films. So I have no problem with him coming back. If you have room for Wahlberg, you have room for Duhamel.
He's not in it, is it? Wahlberg in this one too?
Yeah.
Wahlberg, Gerard Carmichael, very funny comic.
Gerard
now
Carmichael.
Josh Duhamel. It's going to be a good film. Maybe. Okay, let's go on to Buy or Sell, where one of the stories is about Transformers, but Ashley, is that the first one?
It sure is. Paramount Pictures took to their official Transformers Instagram account yesterday in order to announce the official title for the upcoming 5th entry in the series, Transformers: The Last Night. The Last Night cast is confirmed to include Mark Wahlberg as Cade Yeager, as well as new roles for Isabella Moner as the film's female lead, Isabella. Michael Bay will return as director with a script written by Iron Man scribes Art Markham and Matt Holloway, and Black Hawk Down's Ken Nolan. Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, Don Murphy, and Tom DeSanto will produce the sequel. Production is set to begin on June 6 in Detroit, Michigan. Transformers: The Last Night is set for a June 23, 2017 release date. John, buy or sell the new Transformers 5 title, The Last Night?
I absolutely buy this. Absolutely buy this. I love the title because, look, you're not looking for any kind of Godfather in the Transformers movies. You're going to have a good time, turn your brain off, and see what craziness Michael Bay is going to do for you. And the title, I think, is perfect because it's evocative of King Arthur, of nobility, of honor. That's what we always subscribe to. Optimus Prime, that's what he always evokes in us. So so to me, it's a good connection with them. And as a guy who's voiced one of the characters in the Transformers Robots in Disguise TV series, I have no choice but to like it as well. My only issue with it, though, is the font. I do not like the font of the look. It's too round, it's too kiddie-like, and I think with Michael Bay, the way he plays these things, there are a lot of harder edges, and I would have liked to have seen something like that. But as a title, I'm so on board with that.
You're a fontist.
I
That's what you
am
are.
a fontist.
Well, Transformers: The Last Night, I can't get excited about that title because it's got Transformers in it, and it's directed by Michael Bay. So I'm not going to be like, oh, wait, the title got me. I'm going to wait to be an idiot with this movie until I see the first trailer, and I love that. Then I'm going to be like, don't worry, guys, we got the whole franchise turned around with this new one. I do like the fact that Optimus Prime seems to come from a lineage of knight-like figures. I think that's in the lore somewhere, Rocha.
Yep.
And it's like, I get it. We're going to harken back to like an older day. Maybe there's time travel in there, or maybe it is just called in a 5-minute conversation that Optimus Prime is having with some other elder where you are the last knight. I'm the last knight. Let's go drink some Bud Light and wreck downtown Detroit, Michigan. Kristian, you buy it?
This is Optimus Prime. Sell my own movie. I am selling this stupid thing.
The title or the movie?
Selling the title. Last Night. Unless it's the last night I ever have to see Transformers of my life, then I'm going to. No, the last night and the last night falls. I think that it is a. It's just I just have no faith in it for exactly what Mark's saying with Michael Bay. I don't care. I know what's going to happen. I can guarantee every single one of us is going to see this trailer and go, this is going to be the good one, and it's not. And everybody who's in the chat room going, sell it, sell it, sell it. We're all going to, there's some magical trance that happens with this shit piece. And what's going to happen is you're going to start, oh, wait a minute. For some reason, I have to watch this movie. Popcorn. And you leave and you just, like this guy, get sick and start throwing up in bushes because it is one of those things.
It happened.
It's just terrible. He doesn't have a grasp on it. He doesn't know how to hold what made the Transformers movie, the TV show good, the old cartoon. He doesn't know how to do that. And he never will. I thought that when Stephen DeKnight and all those dudes were going to come in and write this brand new kind of mythology to it, it was going to change. And then they said, and Michael Bay is coming back. And Optimus Prime went, oh, well, shit. Because it's not, I just don't think it's going to be anything. And The Last Night sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, and the reason why I sell it too, just on the name of the title, like it's not enough to get somebody who's not locked into this Transformers movie series so far. It's not enough to be like The Last Night. Well, that's really intriguing. Like, what are they going to talk about here? It just seems like a cheesier kind of title than I would have hoped for. So it's on a level with Spider-Man: Homecoming for me. You know?
I'm sorry, I really can't agree. I think you're right. What Kristian said, the trance happens. Absolutely. Every time I see a trailer, I'm like, oh no, it's not going to be good. It's going to be terrible. And then you go and you're like, great. The second one is really the only one that I didn't like. Everything else is.
Oh man,
all
you like
the other
the last one?
Oh yeah, the last one I got real drunk and
Exactly.
and high and I enjoyed the hell out of those 2.5, 3 hours that was in
You
the
were
theater.
drunk and high.
Because he doesn't
I
remember
enjoyed
it.
it.
That's
It was
why. 'cause
so
he
much
doesn't-
fun.
He made a movie up in his head while he was drunk
really
and stoned,
was.
and he didn't even see the movie he thought he saw.
Well, it's like a blank canvas. You can create whatever's there. That's what's so great about Michael Bay.
Is that
no,
you
but the
used
films
to be
have
in the
made
military?
the films, yeah, that's right.
is called Bespin.
For the films have made $3.7 billion in the global box office. So whether he understands the series or not, he is successful doing it. You cannot argue this. The quality you can argue, absolutely. And this is supposed to be a bounce off point because they're going to go into a Bumblebee spinoff movie, and then Transformers 6 is supposed to arrive in 2019. and they already announced that. So it's like this is going, people. There's no stopping it. I don't think there's any stopping it. So you might as well get on board because there's really no. You're just
that mentality though stinks. I mean, it does. You just get on board. We're going to keep giving you garbage, so just keep on eating
I'm
it.
not
Don't eat
saying
the healthy
that.
food.
Just
That's
keep
fine.
on
saying
puffing the
that.
Chiba before the movie.
But that's what it is.
I'm saying with tongue in cheek.
You have to
though,
go
you know.
drunk and stoned in order to enjoy this
I
movie.
really
and
did.
the whole point,
But it
I
still was
think
fun.
that if you can give this, just someone else needs to get a hold of it. Another director just needs to get a hold of it because there's so much there. Continue the mythology you put out there already. You can do so much with this franchise. It just needs to
I
happen.
like how you're like kind of like whispering, like Michael Bay won't hear you.
I
You're not
know.
loud about it. Okay, let's move on from sophisticated robots way down into the jungle.
The latest TV spot was released for The Legend of Tarzan, giving us another good look at the return of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes. The movie stars Alexander Skarsgård, Margot Robbie, Christoph Waltz, and Samuel L. Jackson, with a script by Craig Brewer and directed by Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts director David Yates. The movie tells the story of Tarzan leaving the jungles of Africa behind for a more civilized life as John Clayton III, Lord Greystoke, with his beloved wife Jane at his side. When he's invited back to the Congo to serve as a trade emissary of Parliament, he unwillingly becomes a pawn in a deadly convergence of greed and revenge masterminded by the Belgian captain Leon Rom. The movie hits theaters this July 1st. Mark, buy or sell the new TV spot for The Legend of Tarzan.
Yeah, sure, I'll buy it. Look, I didn't think this TV spot did as good of a job as the trailers of conveying exactly all of the story points that Tarzan is going to hit in Lord of the Apes, which every time I hear that title, Lord of the Apes, all I can think of is the Seinfeld episode, Frank Costanzo, Lord of the Idiots. But I do want to see this movie, despite my better judgment, because the trailers locked me in. So now I see this 30-second spot, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you show me some action. I don't know that this is going to be the thing that sells people on it if they weren't already locked into Tarzan. If they were like, oh, I hated the trailers, but that TV spot turned me. It's not going to do that, but it's going to get people in the theater because this is probably the first time that most people have seen a Tarzan ad, and they're like, oh, this movie's coming out. It didn't get as much into the story as it could have, but again, it's only 30 seconds long, so you really can't talk about all the points that I'm sure Craig Brewer came up with, and David Yates as a director is a guy that I look forward to seeing his movies, so I'm excited for this movie, so I can give it a buy. How about you, Rocha?
Absolutely buy it. I'm not always the biggest fan of these Tarzan adaptations. Shout out to Casper Van Dien, but for me, I love the original, the Greystoke Legend of Tarzan one from the 80s with Christopher Lambert. That is actually a good movie, and
I like that one.
the animated Tarzan one is actually also good. So there, we've seen this property take interesting turns. # Bo Derek, but like to see now what it's doing, this looks like a great cast. And David Yates is a good director. Those last 4 Harry Potter films are the reason people, along with Azkaban's, obviously Quaron's Azkaban, are the reason people love the property so much on film as well as in the books. So I think it's a smart move. Christoph Waltz can't be a bad thing to have as a bad guy. He's always great. Sam Jackson, Margot Robbie's riding her wave, and Skarsgård's going to be great. Skarsgård's going to be great in this part. So to me, I think it's hitting the right notes, and I love the story that he's been in civilization and he's coming back, which is very evocative of what they did in Greystoke. So
Will there be a reference to Phil
excited.
Collins in this movie?
I hope so. I hope there's something.
Kristian, do you buy or sell the TV spot?
George of the jungle. I actually buy it. I buy it, but hesitantly, like you did,
Yeah.
just because I really liked the trailers. I do think, though, that it does its job. The reason I'm buying is I think it does its job to create interest. I don't think it necessarily sells you on the movie the way that you're saying, but I think that it does when you see it, and you get to see, like my dad, oh, there's a new Tarzan movie coming out. All right. And he at least knows it's coming out now because they put this thing out there, and it's enough to where it's not a boring trailer by any means. There's a lot going on. They show you all the gist and the mythology of what Tarzan is. You get that. If you're familiar with Tarzan, which everybody is, then you get it. And once again, this also goes back into the previous story with the Harley Quinn thing. It makes sense that they might have so much confidence in Margot Robbie. Warner Brothers does, because she's doing this movie. She's certainly doing, and now, and so maybe they say, okay, look, she delivers in this one, she delivers in Suicide Squad. Let's give her own movie. But it's what you said, Rocha. David Yates, to me, is why I'm really excited about this film. I want to see what he's able to do with this mythology. He took the Harry Potter mythology and obviously put his stamp on it. What can he do with this? So the 30-second spot did it for me.
All right, there you go. Let's continue with jungle stuff.
Although Disney's The Jungle Book continues to break all sorts of records at the box office, recently crossing the 800 million worldwide total, Warner Brothers' own Jungle Book Origins movie, directed by Andy Serkis, is still very much happening. Serkis recently spoke to Vulture about the differences between his Jungle Book movie and Disney's, with Serkis saying his version is darker than the recent movie, which will also blend live action and CGI. He said, "Ours is for a slightly older audience. It's a PG-13, more a kind of apes movie, a slightly darker take, closer to Rudyard Kipling's. Movies these days are too cautious when it comes to children, which is wrong. It's great to scare kids in a safe environment because it's an important part of development, and we all love to be scared as kids, so we shouldn't overly protect them. Kids are so sophisticated, and that is why our Jungle Book is quite dark." Jungle Book Origins will be released on October 19, 2018, and stars the voices of Christian Bale, Cate Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Naomi Harris. Christian buyers sell a darker Jungle Book movie from Andy Serkis.
I buy it. It's going to be a tough sell, though, because of the success of everything that Jungle Book, Jon Favreau, and Disney's Jungle Book did. It's going to be a tough sell. This is the direction that obviously it was going anyway, but this is the direction that this movie needs to be in order to continue, because you can't do anything similar to what we got with the Disney Jungle Book. To hear that he's going to be more serious and more like apes, I like that he threw that in there as smart. And I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Andy a couple of times, and I've actually seen him. The dude is like a tremendous father as well too. So hearing these comments, you're like, "Oh man, this guy's scare the crap out of his kids." I get what he's saying here. It's just like, there are times like even I'm watching Disney. I watched some Disney movies. Just watched Lion King with my daughter, and there's certain scenes that are a little scary, and she got a little nervous. My wife was like, "Maybe we should turn it off." And I'm like, "No, she gotta watch it. She gotta get it."
Watch it.
It's just like,
watch it.
You don't take your hands off your eyes. You watch it. You understand me? You think you're scared now?
no, but like,
Remember when Mufasa died?
that's right.
Oh, hey, you thought it ain't all sunshine and rainbows, kid. Get on out there because the shit's coming down.
When do you think the problem started? Oh, when my dad made me watch Lion King at 5 years old.
But I
Rewind. Look at the lion falling. That's hilarious.
Everyone's dead, kid.
So I understand. I actually liked what he's talking about there, and I want to see Andy Serkis direct. I want to see that happen. So this is the one that he's going to do. Then with the voice talent that's already attached, yes, please sign me up. But it's gonna be a hard road.
I'm with you, man. I sell Andy Serkis as a babysitter, but I totally buy him as this is the only play that they had to make. Like, what are you really going to do? Are you going to go lighter than the other Jungle Book? Are you going to put more songs in there? No, you have to go darker. Make it PG-13, because then that starts to intrigue us a little bit. That the jungle isn't always such a forgiving place, and I love his take about kids need to be scared. We all got scared by something. Yeah. It is a crucial part of development. Not everybody gets a trophy for participating. I think there's going to be kids in this movie that don't make it out of the jungle. I hope they get mauled by snakes in the first 5 minutes. I like this take. I'm not sold on the movie overall happening yet because of the brilliance of the Jungle Book that we've already seen and the time period that this is just going to be, okay, we're going to push it back a year, but we already finished shooting it. Now we got to put these effects in. I trust in Andy Serkis. I'm not sold on Jungle Book as a whole yet, but I totally buy these comments. How about you, Rocha?
Yeah, I tentatively buy. Because Serkis is so fantastic, and I've enjoyed him in just about everything he's done. Not just only his motion capture stuff, but also on camera. He is great in 13 going on 30. The man is a smart guy. Smart guy is really good at what he does. Really great in creating these characters. Can't wait to see him in the Black Panther movie. So to see what he's doing with this, it's the smart move. He's in essence pitching a prequel Jungle Book movie and attaching it to the Apes, which everybody loves, the two installments of the recent Apes franchise. So it's smart, and the darkness makes sense. It's a counter. When we encounter Baloo in the Favreau Jungle Book, he's already somewhat 10 years old, 12 years old. How did he go from babe to 10 years old? Let's explore that. I think it's smart. It's something different. It's not the same. It's just a matter of what Kristian said. How are you going to be able to sell this effectively enough that people are willing to go back and see this, go into this world again with a different take? And yeah, I'm not going on any play dates with any kids I might have with Andy Serkis and his kids. That's some scary stuff.
That whole scenario scares the crap out of me.
It really does.
Mowgli, get
What's
your
down
popcorn
that
ready.
hole, Daddy? Go and find out!
Oh my gosh.
Father of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do one more buy or sell.
During an interview with Fandango to promote X-Men Apocalypse, director Bryan Singer revealed he actually pitched the idea of a female Wolverine movie based off of a Wolverine clone, aka Laura Kinney, aka X-23. It was suggested along with his idea for an X-Force movie. Singer wanted to keep the essence of Wolverine alive, knowing that Jackman would be departing the part after 9 total appearances. A number of rumors point to Weapon X coming into the picture in future X-Men films, especially since Fox dated 2 untitled Marvel movies for future releases, with many assuming one of them is for X-Force. As for this report, X-Force, and for that matter, X-23, is still just a rumor. John Byers saw a female Wolverine set in the X-Men universe of movies.
I couldn't buy this more. I absolutely love this idea. She is one of my favorite recent characters in comics, and her story is so messed up. The fact that she was forced to be born, and then she's been experimented on as a character and became this weapon of destruction and assassination, and then becomes a prostitute, becomes a waitress, and her story is so interesting, and the way that she was written, even her genesis, the fact that she was created as an animated character first before she went into the comics is also more fascinating, makes her very unique. So I think if you cast the right person, giving her story, given the darkness already involved in the story, you could make this work really, really well. And why not? The person who is going to take over for Hugh Jackman, if it's a male that takes over, is going to be endlessly compared and criticized. If you go another route, you create a little more space, a little more leeway to have a female step in, a badass female step in, and play this part really well. Take her young, see her progress. You're investing in a franchise. I think it's smart.
And that's what I agree with. That's why I'm going to buy this too on its concept. I mean, I would not want to be the casting director that is charged with finding this person who can carry on the mantle of Wolverine in a new way. But I think that new way is the right way to go, because it's so hard to follow in Hugh Jackman's footsteps. You have to do a different approach. Is what we were talking about in the last story with the Jungle Book. Like, you take it a different direction. This is a very different direction. There is some more from the comic books. The fans seem to be on board with that character in comics anyway. So X-23 on the big screen, it makes sense for X-Men going forward. That's going to be a huge test for the X-Men franchise, is how do you get out of the shadow of Wolverine that Hugh Jackman leaves behind after this Wolverine movie comes out. I think that'd be the right way to go. How about you, world's greatest dad?
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna make sure my daughter watches this with me. But no, it is the question I have though, Rocha, because I'm not familiar with this character. Didn't they kind of do this with a Lady Deathstroke in X2? They kind of did something similar to this, and
that's why the casting is important.
It's very important to see how it's going to work.
Right.
But even the dynamic of that character with Wolverine in X2, I thought worked really well.
She didn't really have anything to do. I mean, except
she's just kind of there. But I liked watching Wolverine play off that.
Absolutely. But the thing is, going off of what you're saying, if she is cast well enough and we respond to her, she's essentially going to take over that role. Yeah. Because that's so hard to do on so many different levels here. Obviously, finding the right casting for someone that's going to, whoever replaces Hugh Jackman is going to have a tough road. So, this interests me if it's developed and done correctly. As long as it's not like anything, if it's not just a gimmick, then yes, absolutely. It sounds like it could be intriguing, especially if it's already worked in the comics. Yeah. So let's try to do it. Good luck to the casting. Good luck to the actor, but it sounds like something that should happen.
Yeah, and I think what you say is what you said earlier about the Batman v Superman situation over at DC. It should be a standalone movie first. Right. Introduce her character, get her through the storylines, get her really ingrained with the audience, get her the audience to connect, so they'll be willing to go into these other situations if they're talking X-Force. Because in the comics, she is connected to Deadpool, to Cable, to Sabretooth, Typhoid Mary. She was involved in House of M, World War Hulk, and she has connections with Gambit, Jubilee, and Angel. So already these other Fox properties and Marvel properties can be involved if they ever make the change, and she really solidifies herself as a character. This could be for the next 20 to 30 years. It's just a really smart move for them if they can make it work.
In the chat room, Harry Ramirez suggested Arya Stark, the actress who plays her for X-23. Not the worst idea I've ever heard. I want to throw it over to Wendy now, because Wendy, you've been checking out the chat room. I know they're going crazy on a number of different stories. We have the Last Night title. We have this X-23, a couple jungle stories, and some horrendous examples of parenting. What are they talking about right now?
Well, let's go all the way back to Transformers. The majority is not just selling it, they're giving it away. And Juan Ortiz says, Transformers, really, please God. I'd rather watch Aloha and a combination of all bad movies in history, including Mark's English accent, than watch this train wreck.
Hey, what are you talking about, mate?
For the Andy Serkis Jungle Book story, they are all buying it because Andy Serkis. A Life in Words and Pictures, buy, because I trust Andy on this. Though honestly, I don't think this movie will do well due to the Disney one is already out. And I couldn't catch this person's name, but Harloff has those clockwork orange eyeball clamps on his little girl while watching The Lion King.
Wow.
And last but not least, female Wolverine. A lot of buy but sell if Singer's going to be involved. And they're already throwing out their casting choices for the female role: Rooney Mara, Sophia Boutella, Alicia Vikander, Maisie Williams, and my favorite, Wendy Lee for X-23.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if we
Love
get
it.
you an audition, Wendy. That would be exciting. Let's move on to opening this week. We have some good comedies coming out. What are we talking about today, Ash?
We are talking about Neighbors 2, Life is Good for Max, Seth Rogen, and pregnant wife Kelly Rose Byrne until the unruly sisters of Kapanu move in next door. As loud parties threaten the sale of their home, the couple turn to ex-neighbor and one-time enemy Teddy Sanders, Zac Efron, for help. Now united with the former college student, the trio devises schemes to get the wild sorority off the block. Unfortunately, the rebellious young women refuse to go down without a fight.
And this is a movie I've been looking forward to for a while now, ever since it was announced. And I was like, okay, I thought Neighbors was hilarious, so Neighbors 2, I'm already going to want to see it. And then I saw the trailer, and it made me laugh throughout. I like both the dynamic of Efron teaming up with his former enemies, and then also the female sorority being the one that moves in next door. I like the casting involved over there, and I just, that gag at the end when he's like, stop spraying, you're making them sexier. It just looks like a lot of Seth Rogen in this is never a bad thing, and I think that him, Zac Efron, Chloe Moretz in there as well, Rose Byrne. This movie's going to be hysterical. I hope we're seeing it tonight. Are you as optimistic as I am?
I'm nervous just because the history of comedy sequels. I mean, I say this every time a comedy sequel comes out. How many comedy sequels were great? Even in the chat room right now, how many can you name? I bet you can come up with about 10 if you're lucky. So it makes me nervous because a lot of times it was successful, so we got to make a second one, and it's only been about a year and a half or whatever it was, 2 years when the first one came out. But do I want to see it? Yes, I do want to see it. I am hoping that I actually am encouraged about the fact that Zac Efron and Rogen are teaming up this time together to take on these sorority girls. I think there could be a lot of great jokes there if done correctly. This team has done it before. I hope that they do it again. I'm just a little skeptical because of the history of comedy sequels.
Nicholas Stoller directing this one as well. How about you, Rocha?
Yeah,
Optimistic?
I'm absolutely optimistic. The trailer is fantastic, and I like that they're going with the sorority bent this way. It's very smart. The fact that they're teaming up together. The first film actually is really funny and has some nice, like, real moments between Zac Efron and Dave Franco. They have these, like, weird kind of bro bonding, but then also understanding about being adults going into adulthood. So there's stuff there that really made the film have a little bit more of a heart than you would see from normal fraternity type comedies. So I'm excited for this one. And what Kristian said is right, but there is a bit of trepidation. What Kristian says right on the Collider Schmoes No Top 10 show that I host with Matt Nost. We did an episode recently, Top 10 Worst Comedy Sequels, because there are so many to choose from that it was enough for us to definitely create 10 really solid choices of how bad these ideas can be. But this one looks really funny. The women they've chosen, the actresses, the sequence where that girl goes through the windshield, doing what she's doing, rolls and screams out the sorority's name and runs off. Sold. Ike Barinholtz screaming as a clown. Brilliant moment. So all these things are very funny. So to me, I look forward to it because I enjoyed the first one.
Ashley, did you see the first Neighbors, and are you looking forward to this one at all?
I did. I'm really excited to see this one. I love Rose Byrne. She's like one of my favorites. I think she's absolutely hilarious. Someone I can't find Chloe Moretz funny. I don't know what it is. I think I just view her to be as like a baby, I think, for some reason. But so I'm excited to see her try to be this more comedic role, and hopefully she looks like really young, doesn't she?
She's 20, but yeah.
She looks very young.
She pulled up some comedy in the Kick-Ass movies. Obviously not straight up comedies, but she's.
And I think in the trailer she talked about smoking a blunt. It really caught me off guard. I'm like, you're a baby, don't smoke blunts.
That's like a great sneaky insult. Is I look
No,
at you as though you
Are
were
you kidding
a baby.
me? I wish I looked younger. I looked old. I wish I looked younger, but I'm really excited excited to see this. I think it's going to be absolutely hilarious.
Well, I can't promise you're going to have hair like Kristian's or Rocha's when you're 40, but hey, we'll see what
a
happens.
girl can dream.
You know, speaking of insults flying all over the place, it's one of the hallmarks of the movie trivia schmodown, and boy, do we have a good matchup this Friday. Kristian, tell us about it.
All right, so we have the #1 contender, the reigning Screen Junkies movie fights champion, Dangerous Dan Murrell, is going up against the Mance Man, Scott Mance. The winner of this match will get a shot at the champion, Mark Yodi Riley. Now, and Dan Murrell's actually going to be on Movie Talk this Thursday to talk about this match. But here's the thing. There's like a little friendly rivalry. Screen Junkies are our buddies. We all love Screen Junkies here, too. And Andy Signore is a friend of mine. But, man, that guy is running his yap hole so much about because he and I are going on at a match on June 10th, and I'm going to shut him up once he comes in here. But it's a matter, I actually, and I know you don't want to hear this, Rocha, I want Mance to win this match. I want Mance to win and get a shot at Riley because, God forbid, we have the Screen Junkies. If I'll never hear the end of it from Andy if Dan Murrell gets a shot at that title and takes that title. So let's Mance and Murrell's going down. They're both really, really good. I want to hear you first. Who do you think? Who do you got between Mance and Murrell, and is it going to be a battle?
Look, I love Scott Mance to death. I just think Dan Murrell there's a reason why he's Dangerous Dan Murrell. I think he's going to be the one that meets up with Riley in the title match. And Rocha, I know you have history with these guys, particularly with Scott Mance. Do you think that Scott Mance, he won on a very lucky play the last round of your guys' schmodown. Do you think he's got enough in him to take down Dan Murrell?
No. He's a pretender to the throne. He's in my slot. He's in my slot. He is like the, what do you call them? The Seahawks? I called a run play. I called a pass when I should have called a run play.
Yeah.
And I blew it. He backed into the victory because I didn't remember
to be there. He doesn't deserve to be there.
No, he doesn't deserve to be there.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to say. He doesn't deserve to be there. I should be there taking on Murrell, but I think Murrell's actually going to wipe the floor with him. Dan is, for people talk about movie fights and whatever, Dan knows his stuff about movies.
He does.
And I respect that. And I remember when Matt and I, as the top 10, faced him and Mark Riley in the Schmodown, I was so nervous all week. So I drank more during that Schmodown than in any other Schmodown because I was so nervous to face these two titans of movie knowledge.
Yeah, and I'd have to thank the fans because this show has really been doing well because of you guys. Each episode is doing over about 115,000 views per episode, and you guys have been watching. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the comments that you guys have been getting involved in the league. And a big match that I announced on my Twitter yesterday, we've got Kanan from Rebels himself, Freddie Prinze Jr. going up against Darth Maul himself, Sam Witwer. That'll probably happen sometime in July. I'm looking for it, but that is going to be a mega matchup. So again, thank you for all the fans who have been watching this competition. Everyone who has been caring about the competition in the league. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very, very exciting stuff. You know, if Rocha prepared for his Schmodown matchup the way he prepared to see Transformers 4, it's no wonder he missed an easy Star Wars question. Let's move on to Mailbag. This is the part of the show where Ashley reads some of your emails live on the air. If you want to get your email read live, then just email us collidervideo@gmail.com. And we're going to save a few minutes here at the end of the show to take your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and tweet us right now at Collider Video. Ash, what's up first in our mailbox?
Ralph Terry writes, "Hello, Collider team. I haven't missed an episode since I first found you back 3 years ago. I wanted to ask, since so many have asked if this movie or that movie should have a sequel, I was just wondering, are there any films where there should absolutely be a sequel, but it was just never made? I have two choices. The first is the most obvious, a second part to True Lies, and the other is, and don't laugh, a sequel to Trading Places, especially after the little tease in Coming to America. Just curious as to what you think, and since The Incredible 2 is coming soon, then you can't count it."
You know, I like Kristian pointed out, it's really hard to make comedy sequels good, and they don't have a track record. But there's two comedies I'm dying to see more from that universe, and one is Old School. I think Old School was such a great, funny movie, and you could still do it today. I know it's 13 years later, whatever. I still want to see a sequel to Old School. Step Brothers is another one where you could just have Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly show up on set, stumble around, get a nice cast around them, and I want to see that happen. Another one that I always wanted to see that we're never going to see now is The Rock. I mean, you could still have Sean Connery come out of retirement, or at least in a small part, but The Rock was so cool. I wanted to see Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery go on another mission together. It's just never going to happen. How about you, Kristian?
Dread.
Yeah.
Dread's the one I want. I mean, it didn't do well enough in the theater, but there was definitely like that cry for it to come back, and I really loved that movie. There was so much more to tell in that universe. The 3D is some of the best 3D that has been done in a film. Carl Urban was what a risky move for him the whole entire time to not show his face. Most actors won't do that, but a character called for it. He did it. He knocked it out of the park. It was kind of a shame that it didn't do better. So, yeah, I'd like to see a Dredd sequel, but I don't think we're ever going to see it.
Rocha, hit me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Kristian. That was on my list. Dredd was such a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, rent it. If you have a 3D television, watch it in 3D. Kristian's right. 3D is some of the best you've ever seen. Any film, regardless of a superhero film. My other two are Point Break. I was always so sad that we didn't get a sequel to the original Point Break.
Right, not the recent one.
Not the recent one. Because what happened to Bodhi?
Right.
Did he really die? Did he not die?
Hell no, he didn't die.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been fun to see that, and unfortunately, we didn't get a chance for that. The Thing would have been nice. The Kurt Russell film, to see what would happen after, if he got rescued, if he didn't get rescued, who survived between the two at the end, that kind of thing would have been nice. And my closet favorite is Running Scared from the 80s with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that as a buddy cop film. What a great comedy. And I went to see it recently at the New Beverly, or I guess last year. Peter Hyams showed up and he talked about it, the film, and he said that there had been scripts they were kicking around for sequels, but Billy Crystal or Gregory Hines, they couldn't prove them at the same time. They couldn't agree with what they wanted to do, and then the time to do it just passed away, which sucks because it would have been great. They have great chemistry.
Yeah. You know,
Well, then let's just get Peter Hyams to make Time Cop 2.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
done.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, why not? I would also go with Warrior 2.
Oh yeah.
Because I'd like to see what happened to the continuation of the brothers' story, in the league, because that still to this day is the best MMA film that's put out there.
I just want to hear Nick Nolte read another chapter in Moby Dick. Really good stuff. What's our last mailbag question?
Brian Lyndon Johnston writes, "Hi, greetings from the UK. Which movie characters do you think had the biggest influence on your life? Looking back, I think Indiana Jones had the most influence on my life. Even at a young age, the movie taught me to embrace all cultures, travel, and take chances. Thanks for all the new content."
Oh, that's a good answer. Indiana Jones. I was like, what? You're not an archaeologist. But then it's like, oh, yeah, the guy does a lot of cool stuff. He's making this up as he goes along. You know what? Jim Carrey had a huge influence on me as a kid. I talked like Ace Ventura for an entirely too long amount of time in 6th grade. And then seeing him in Liar Liar was a huge moment in my life, as was Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor on multiple levels, because Eddie Murphy's very funny and he's making the audience laugh, but he also, Sherman Klump is, he's not in the best of shape, and neither was I when I was watching. And there's a moment of that movie that still makes me cry to this day when I see it, when he's being insulted by Chappelle, the comedy club, and Chappelle will not stop with the fat jokes, and it's a slow zoom in on Sherman Klump's face, and he goes from laughing, just being like so motivated. It's like the beginning of a superhero almost. And then I'll say Marty McFly too, because like I wanted to be nobody more than Michael J. Fox when I was 5-6 years old. I even skateboarded like after seeing Back to the Future. Teen Wolf is probably what got me into basketball. I never became Harry, but yeah, those are some for me. How about you, John Stephen Rocha?
I would say first off, Rocky Balboa.
You son of a bitch.
What? It affects all
Can
of us,
he
right?
have his movie, please?
I mean, you got Dredd. No, Rocky Balboa, absolutely. I mean, who isn't affected by that? And Kristian's reaction is proof positive. Like, that movie, that character influenced a lot of us who grew up at a certain time about going for your dreams, about fighting, about the fact you don't always get there the first time. You got to keep going. And yeah, they got cheesy or whatever, but then Creed came in and really solidified the franchise again. And so that character is so powerful. I cried 2 or 3 times in Creed, just the possibility they might not have him anymore on screen, just the possibility they might not be there. And so that's how powerful it was. And the other one I would say is Michael Corleone of The Godfather. Absolutely shaped a lot of my approach to things, a lot of the ideas of how to look at things and how not to be in certain situations, because he's a very cold guy with almost no emotion, and it shows you can be successful, but then it's an empty life at the end. And so it's that kind of stuff that really affected me.
Kristian, Flash Gordon is your answer. Why?
No, Henry Hill and the Emperor. Star Wars. No. I would say you want to go, obviously, Rocky Balboa. I used to watch that movie as a kid, and it's just like, go for it. That was the thing I always say, go for it. And, I would watch those movies over and over and over again. Just, it's total inspiration. It's totally about the underdog. But also go into, I'm shocked that you didn't say Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker is talking about going for adventure.
I think they knew that.
Going for adventure and, just not staying in one place and wanting to do more. That was always kind of what I always wanted to do, and watching Luke do it. And then another sports reference, if you were going to steal Rocky Balboa from me, I would say is Rudy. Same thing, kind of a fight as far as go. You hate Rudy, right?
Yeah, I do not like that movie.
No, well,
You
Rudy
don't
doesn't-
like the movie? It's a great documentary.
the good news is Rudy doesn't like you either.
That's
so,
right, he doesn't.
I'm sure Rudy would like him. I mean, Rudy likes pretty much anybody that gives him a free beer to Notre Dame frat party. But look, if you take out the true story and how it really wasn't that well told in the movie,
Flash
you just
Gordon
watch
you're
Rudy as a movie. Flash Gordon was note for note what actually
right.
happened to Joe Namath way back in the 60s.
That's how winning is done.
Sorry, wanted to do a little Rocky.
There it is. You would say Captain Kirk, maybe Kirk as well with Luke Skywalker. You got to give a little love to the Star Trek side too. Kirk was a badass. Kirk was so awesome to growing up and seeing him. And you juxtapose him with Luke. Luke was also and Solo. I bet it influenced a lot of
If you
people.
could not mention Captain Kirk in the same sentence as Luke Skywalker, thank you very much, John Rocha. Let's move on to Twitter questions. We got time for just a couple. Let's do 2.
Oh, okay. Well, Aaron writes, could Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn solo movie work in the same way that Deadpool did?
I mean, as far as like a R-rated, quick-witted, foul-mouthed, anti-hero-ish, yeah, I think you could. I don't know that Deadpool's an anti-hero, but
He is an anti-hero.
he's got things about him that are going to wear on classic superheroes, as we saw with Colossus. That could totally happen in the same vein, but I don't think that DC is sitting down in a board meeting and being like, oh, this is what Deadpool did well. We need to do this with Harley Quinn. I think that they have their own storyline set up for that universe.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some comments like, "Oh, have you heard of Deadpool, Harloff?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it's so different. Deadpool is a guy. There is good in him. He's reluctant. He doesn't like. I'm not a hero. He like pushes away from it. Harley Quinn's a psychopath. She's a crazy person. So it's completely different. But it doesn't mean it can't work. No. It definitely can work. But don't compare Deadpool and Harley Quinn. They're two different because Colossus is trying to recruit him into the X-Men. Right. They're trying to recruit Harley Quinn back into a jail cell. Right. It's very, very different. So yes, I'm aware of Deadpool, but I'm also aware that they're very different movies.
Be interesting to see the spin they put on the Harley Quinn character in Suicide Squad, because Deadpool is he does have some sort of code of chivalry that we see, but he also is clearly a nutbag as well. So how about you, Rocha?
Yeah, it depends on what Harley Quinn you're going to go with. Are you going with the new 52 Harley Quinn, or are you going with the original Harley Quinn that made a choice?
There's some good in her, right?
Right, and made a choice to be nuts, made a choice because of her love for Joker, But she's also an intelligent person because she's a psychiatrist. She was an intelligent psychiatrist, well noted in her field before she made the switch.
Right.
If you're going to go with the new 52 Harley, which is like she got pushed in the vat by the Joker and became this thing, then it's less a choice, which kind of aligns itself with Deadpool. Deadpool didn't choose to be this thing. He chose thinking he would cure his cancer, but he didn't think it would turn him into this. So it all depends. I mean, that's the only correlation. But I think Harley's a completely different animal because she is more evil than good.
The chat room is very impressed with the comic book knowledge on the red shirt guy. Let's do one more Twitter question.
Andrew Middlemass writes, do you think your age has any impact on your relevance and weight of opinion in your industry?
I mean, to some degree, when you're a kid, I think it's easier to get swept up in a world of imagination. Like those are the movies that you see when you're a kid and you just take with you forever. Just speaking for myself, I know that a lot of people develop at different ages. Like, I wasn't necessarily the most mature person, and I still to this day am not. So I'm glad that I never reviewed a movie when I was like 18 years old or when I was, 22 years old or something like that. Like, I needed time. It's like the Cheez-Its commercial. Like, this cheese needed some time to mature before I could actually start talking.
But it still stinks.
It still is not the best smell in the world, right? But my desk is now clean in the office.
And who helped you with that?
I had a lot of assistants, both physical manual labor cleaning and some very helpful suggestions. There were multiple meetings held about Mark Ellis, both when I was out of town and when I was in town, about my office.
He really showed me your desk when you were out of town. He really showed me.
The best part about it is that you didn't even have to like lift a finger, and your whole desk just magically appeared.
No, my fingers are very well manicured, and from now on, my fingernail clippings will go right in the trash can.
Thank you.
Oh my Lord.
Sorry.
Is that your Rocky?
No, it was better than my Rocky. What I will tell you, as far as like, it absolutely helps in any job. Your experience in any years. And that's not to say that you can't have a vast knowledge at a younger age. Of course you can. But it does help them more because it also gives you time to see more and to talk about more and experience more work as when you have the conversations. Like, because Rocha knows a lot. And he's really old.
Yes.
Right.
It's true. This is all die. This is all die.
Oh my gosh.
What's it like having a movie based on your life? And if you guys haven't seen Up, you guys need to check that thing
I
out.
remember my conversation with Chuck Heston when he was an up and coming
Harvey
actor.
Keitel?
Yeah. Me and Harvey Keitel in his
Does
first.
have you seen your opinions change? In your time from the turbulent World War I era
Yeah,
and then
sure,
moving through
sure.
World War II.
Yeah, the Vietnam is when really everything changed for me. The Vietnam era. No, honestly, for me, it is because when I was younger, I knew I loved films, but you don't have the vocabulary to understand them just yet. Yes, can you aesthetically speak about them and say you like them? Sure. Could you be some prodigy? Possibly, but it's really rare. So what happens is with age is certain things in films that didn't appeal to you at that time because you didn't understand them appeal to you so much more as you get older. That's what's the beauty of film and TV is you can revisit some of these really classic, well-done films or television shows and get lost back in them and get something completely different out of them. I mean, one of my favorite films is Citizen Kane. I've seen that thing a million times, and every time in a different stage of my life, I can see it and get something different out of it because I've gotten older and I'm able to perceive things differently. And I think it's important, but not losing the youth. I'm a young guy at my age inside because I still enjoy the love and majesty of movies. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you if it was better in the theater.
Ashley,
Opening night with Orson, it can't be beat. Can't be beat.
Ashley is still a younger individual, but you've recently graduated finishing school, I'm sure. So when you see, has your opinion changed on films since you were a kid?
I think so. Oh my God, I want to be like, drastically, but yeah, kind of. I don't think that people take your opinion as seriously when you're younger. That's my genuine answer.
That
So just keep
makes
shaking your head.
A lot of sense. No, I really agree with it. And I'm glad that on the last 2 days of Movie Talk, everybody's found out that I like NC-17 rated stuff. I smell like cheese, and my desk is a mess. I think I'm going to let Kristian host tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody both behind the desk and up front here with me. Joining me on the panel, first of all, Mr. John Stephen Rocha. Where can everybody find you online, sir?
Hey guys, you can always find me at The Rocha Says. That's my homage to The Rock. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram. See all the shows I'm hosting, all the shows I'm a guest on, which I'm always happy to come on like this show. And one more thing, Mark, because it just wouldn't be a movie talk without a little promo. Makuga!
Oh my God, I'm scared.
Makuga! Makuga!
He's out there.
Your beating is calling you. Makuga, line 2. Makuga, pick it up. Pick it up, because you're about to go down. You're about to go down. Wear pink suits. Wear mustache suits. Bitch, wear an entire fur coat. I don't give a crap. Dress up for your funeral, my friend. Do it, because I want to see all that clothes just completely cover up your tears, cover up your destruction, cover up your loss. And Mance, I'm coming for you, baby doll. I'm coming for you, because I know you're going to lose to Danny Boy. And then my revenge, just like Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, I will have you, Mancy. Makuga, you first. You first. Let's put you away. Let's send you back to Pittsburgh, son. Let's put you on a yellow and black, inside a yellow and black suitcase and send your ass out into Pittsburgh, out into the steel to be another member of the billowing smoke coming out of those dying factories in your city. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. And you're going down. And I'm going to break you in half, Makuga.
I'll tell you who's not a fan of you is Adam back there. So you're slamming on the desk. Adam's just looking at this.
Clear?
That old guy ain't giving out Werther's Originals anytime soon. Kristian George Harloff, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Kristian Harloff, Twitter and Instagram, and you can also find me taking my daughter to therapy. Make sure that you check out Jedi Council every Thursday. Cool show this week. Working on it. Don't know if it's going to happen, but trying to get one of the originals, Maude Garrett, back on this Thursday. Check that out, see if that happens. And obviously the Schmodown. Mance versus Merle, big one. Whoever wins this match plays Mark Yodi Riley for the championship in July. So come check it out.
It's a very shiny belt. Speaking of shiny apparel, Ashley Mova owns a lot of that stuff. Where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and on Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
Hey, let's stress that one out. It is Taco Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for spending an hour of your time here with us. My name is Mark Ellis. Make sure you guys go to amctheatres.com. That's where you can go for all the latest box office and Showtime information. Bookmark collider.com right now. That's where we go for a lot of the scoops we bring you guys each and every day. And, of course, subscribe subscribe here on Collider Video, as well as over at Kristian and I's YouTube channel, Schmoes Know. My name is Mark Ellis. You can follow me at all the social media networks simply at Mark Ellis Live. Have a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.